I still remember the exact sound of their laughter. Not the polite kind that follows a joke, but the cruel, dismissive kind that cuts straight through you, the kind that makes you feel small, stupid, and completely alone. My name is Reese, and that laugh changed everything. I was standing in our kitchen, acceptance letter clutched in my trembling hands, while my parents sat at the granite island they'd just had installed, the same island that probably cost more than the tuition help I was about to ask for. MIT? My father didn't even look up from his iPad. And you expect us to pay for that? I got a partial scholarship, I said, hating how my voice shook. I just need help with the remainder. I can work part-time, take loans for some of it. That's when the laugh started. My mother's high-pitched titter, followed by my father's deeper chuckle. "Oh, sweetie," Mom said, examining her fresh manicure. "College might not be, well, for someone like you. Have you considered community college? Or perhaps a nice certification program?" "Your sister's focusing on her modeling career," Dad added, as if that somehow related to my future. Much more practical. I gripped the acceptance letter tighter, feeling the paper crumple. I got into one of the best engineering programs in the country. My grades... "We're expected," Dad cut in. "That's what happens when you have no social life. Always studying, never going out like a normal teenager." "Getting a job would build more character than another degree," Mom said, reaching for her wine glass. "You need to learn the value of hard work." The front door slammed, and my sister Kiara breezed in, shopping bags swinging from both arms. At 18, same age as me, she was everything I wasn't. Confident, carefree, adored. "Daddy!" She dropped her bags and rushed to hug him. "The most amazing thing happened at the agency today." Just like that, I became invisible. They leaned in, hanging on her every word about some photographer who might maybe possibly book her for a local magazine spread. I stood there, MIT acceptance letter crushed in my fist, watching my future crumble while they fawned over Kiara's latest big break. 3 days later, they threw her a massive 18th birthday party. I helped set up, arranged flowers, and played waitress to their country club friends. Then came the big moment, Dad's speech. "Princess," he said, raising his champagne glass, "your mother and I are so proud of the woman you're becoming, and to help you start your amazing journey." He pulled out an envelope. "We're giving you the down payment for that condo you've been eyeing. Your dream home awaits." The crowd erupted in applause. Kiara squealed and jumped into his arms. I slipped out the back door, sat on the steps, and finally let myself cry. "Quite a show in there, huh?" I looked up to see Morgan, my parents' financial advisor, watching me with sad eyes. "They just gave her a condo," I whispered. "A whole condo. But they won't even consider helping with my tuition." He sat beside me, sighing heavily. There's a lot you don't know, Reese. Things I wish I could tell you." "What things?" He shook his head. "Not my place. Just don't let this break you, okay? Use it. Build something they can't ignore." I wiped my eyes, something hardening inside me. "Oh, I will." That night, I packed my bags. I had exactly $2,437 saved from tutoring jobs, a brain full of determination, and absolutely nothing left to lose. Kiara caught me at the door. "Where are you going?" "MIT," I said, shouldering my backpack. "Some of us actually got in." She rolled her eyes. "God, you're so dramatic. Just because Mom and Dad won't spoil you." I cut her off with a laugh of my own. Not cruel like theirs, but cold. Empty. "You know what's funny, Kiara? You think this moment broke me? It didn't. It planted something instead." "Whatever," she said, already bored. "Have fun being poor at your fancy school." I walked out without looking back. But I made myself a promise that night. I would build an empire from their rejection. And one day, when they came crawling back, because people like them always do, I would remember the sound of that laugh. They thought they were teaching me about the real world. Instead, they were teaching me exactly how to hurt them back. I just had to be patient. Ramen again. The microwave hummed as I stared at my phone, scrolling past Kiara's latest Instagram post, her lounging by some resort pool, cocktail in hand. Blessed family love. I clicked my phone off just as someone knocked on my dorm room door. Rent check bounced, my roommate Sarah said, waving the notice. Again. I get paid tomorrow, I said, pulling my sad noodles from the microwave. Double shift at the coffee shop, plus that coding job I picked up. You're going to kill yourself working like this. I shrugged, shoveling scalding noodles into my mouth while reviewing code on my laptop. 3 jobs, full course load, and 4 hours of sleep a night was my new normal. The alternative was failing, going home, proving them right. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Ciara just booked her first national commercial. Isn't she amazing? I didn't respond. Instead, I grabbed my backpack and headed to the computer lab. That's where I met Zariah, hunched over her own laptop at 2 a.m., looking as exhausted as I felt. Your code's wrong, she said, peering at my screen. Excuse me? Line 47, you've got a syntax error. She pulled her chair closer. I'm Zariah, teaching assistant for advanced programming. That night turned into morning as we debugged my project together. When I finally explained why I was taking on freelance coding jobs at 2 a.m., her face darkened. Your parents did what? It's fine, I said, but my hands were shaking as I typed. It's not fine, it's financial abuse. She grabbed my wrist. Listen, my startup needs a part-time coder. Pays better than that coffee shop gig. I stared at her. Why would you help me? Because fuck people who try to break smart women. 2 weeks later, I quit the coffee shop. The startup work was challenging, but paid enough to cover rent. Between that, my weekend retail job, and freelancing, I was barely staying afloat, but I was staying. Then came the networking event that changed everything. You built this interface yourself? The investor, a grey-haired man named James, was scrolling through my portfolio. Yes, sir, it's a side project I've been... Stop calling me sir. Call me James. He handed back my tablet. This could make you millions if you developed it properly. I laughed. I can barely afford ramen. I'm serious. He pulled out a business card. I fund promising tech startups. Book a proper pitch meeting with my office. That night I called Zariah in a panic. I can't pitch to actual investors. I'm nobody. You're not nobody, she said firmly. You're the girl who worked 3 jobs while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. The girl who built an entire UI framework between midnight shifts. The girl who... My phone dinged with another family text. A photo of Ciara in front of a new Mercedes. Early graduation gift from the best parents ever. The girl who's going to make them regret every laugh, I finished quietly. The next month was a blur of pitch deck preparations and ramen dinners. I practiced my presentation until I could recite it in my sleep. The morning of the pitch, another text came through. Ciara had crashed her Mercedes. Parents already buying her a replacement. I walked into that boardroom with steel in my spine. My name is Reese, I said to the room full of investors, and I'm here to revolutionize how we think about user interface design. 10 minutes in, James was smiling. 20 minutes in, others were taking notes. By the end, 3 different investors wanted to schedule follow-up meetings. This is just the beginning, James said afterward, shaking my hand. You've got something special here. That night, I sat in my tiny dorm room, staring at the preliminary investment offers, numbers with more zeros than I'd ever seen. My phone buzzed again. Another family group text I never responded to. Ciara's starting her own fashion blog, so proud of our little entrepreneur. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. Tired eyes, cheap clothes, hair pulled back in a messy bun. Then I looked at the investment offers again. A slow smile spread across my face. Hey Zariah, I typed. Want to help me build an empire? Her response was immediate. Thought you'd never ask. I taped the first investment offer to my wall, right next to my MIT acceptance letter. Soon, I'd have an office with real walls to hang things on. Soon, I'd have employees and business cards and a corner office. Soon, they'd see exactly what their less capable daughter could do. But first, one last cup of ramen. For old time's sake, 5 years can change everything. I sat in my corner office, watching the sun rise over the city skyline, when Zariah burst in, waving her tablet. "We got it!" she shouted. "The government contract! They chose our interface design!" I grabbed the tablet, scanning the email. A multi-million-dollar deal to redesign their entire digital infrastructure. My hands shook as I read the figures. "We did it," I whispered. "We actually did it." "Hell yes, we did," Zariah perched on my desk. "So, are you going to tell them?" I knew who she meant. My phone still buzzed with family updates, though less frequently now. Last week's highlight, Ciara's 4th failed business venture, some sort of crystal healing spa that lasted 3 months. "They know," I said, pulling up Instagram. "They just pretend not to." My company, RiseTech, had been featured in Forbes. My face was on tech magazines. But somehow, my parents still managed to avoid acknowledging any of it. "Reese," my assistant's voice crackled over the intercom. "Mr. Woods is here for your meeting." Maximus Woods, venture capitalist, notorious for his brutal honesty and impressive portfolio. He strode in wearing a perfectly tailored suit and a confident smile. "The famous Reese," he said, extending his hand. "Your reputation precedes you. Hopefully in a good way." "Very good." His eyes lingered on mine a moment too long. "Though I have to ask, why seek additional investment when you're already successful?" I pulled up our presentation. "Because successful isn't enough. I want to revolutionize how people interact with technology. That takes resources." 2 hours later, we were still talking, not just about business, but everything. He was sharp, funny, and seemed genuinely interested in my vision. "Have dinner with me," he said suddenly. "Is that a business proposition?" "Not even slightly." I opened my mouth to respond when my phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "Emergency! Please call." In 5 years, they'd never reached out for anything. My stomach dropped. I need to take this," I said. Maximus nodded. "Think about dinner. I'm very patient." In the privacy of my office, I called home. Mom answered on the first ring. "The bank is foreclosing," she wailed. "Ciara's condo. We've been helping with payments, but we can't anymore. Our retirement savings." "How much did you give her?" "That's not important. Your sister needs help." Of course. They weren't calling because they finally wanted to acknowledge my success. They were calling because they needed it. "Put Dad on." A shuffle, then his gruff voice. "Reese, how bad is it?" A long pause. "We emptied our accounts keeping her afloat. The spa failure, the condo payments, her credit card debt. And now you want my help?" "We're family," he said, as if that explained everything, as if that erased the years of dismissal and cruel laughter. "I'll think about it," I said, and hung up. Zariah found me staring out the window an hour later. "You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." "They called. They need money." "Tell them to go to hell. I have a better idea." I turned to face her. "Remember how we always said revenge is best served cold? Reese, they're about to lose everything. They'll need a place to stay." Understanding dawned on her face. "No, you wouldn't." "I would." I picked up my phone and dialed Maximus. "About that dinner? I'm free tonight." Later, over expensive wine and perfectly cooked steak, Maximus studied my face. "You seem distracted." "Family drama," I admitted. "They've finally noticed I exist, now that they need something." "Ah," he leaned back. "And you're planning to help?" "In a way." I smiled, thinking of my empty guest rooms, my strict house rules, my carefully crafted plan for poetic justice. I'm planning to teach them exactly what they taught me, which is that everything has a price. My phone buzzed again. Ciara this time. Can I crash with you for a while, just until I figure things out? I typed back immediately. Of course, sis. Stay as long as you need. Maximus raised an eyebrow at my sudden smile. Should I be worried? Not at all. I raised my glass, just watching karma finally catch up. The thing about karma, though, sometimes it needs a little help, a careful push in the right direction. And I was about to become karma's favorite assistant. Let them come. Let them see what their forgotten daughter built. Let them depend on my charity, just as I once begged for theirs. This time, I wouldn't be the one hearing that cruel laugh. Ciara showed up at my doorstep with 6 designer suitcases and tears in her eyes. She took one look at my 3-story townhouse and froze. Wow, she said, mascara running down her cheeks. You actually did okay for yourself. I smiled, remembering ramen dinners and bounced rent checks. Come in, let me show you around. Her heels clicked on my marble floors as I led her through rooms worth more than her foreclosed condo. Each, oh my God, and this is incredible, felt like small victories. The guest room is downstairs, I said, leading her to the basement. Her smile faltered. The basement? It's fully finished. There's a bathroom and everything. I opened the door to reveal a sparse but clean room with a simple bed. No designer furnishings. No fancy artwork. Just basics. Oh. She set down her Louis Vuitton bag. I thought don't you have like 4 empty bedrooms upstairs? Those are my home offices. I work a lot. I handed her a printed sheet. Here are the house rules. She scanned the paper, her perfectly plucked eyebrows rising. Quiet hours? Chore schedule? Limited Wi-Fi access? Are you serious? Very. My house, my rules. I'm your sister, not your teenager. And I'm your sister, not your ATM. I turned to leave. Dinner's at 6. Don't be late. I was on a video call with Maximus when the doorbell rang again. Through my security camera, I saw them, Mom and Dad, looking smaller than I remembered. I have to go, I told Maximus. Family's here. Be careful, he said softly. Don't let this consume you. I opened the door to find Mom clutching her Hermes bag like a shield. Dad couldn't meet my eyes. Reese, Mom said, voice wobbling. You look successful. Come in. They followed me to the kitchen where Ciara sat picking at a modest dinner of chicken and vegetables. No personal chef? She'd asked earlier. I learned to cook, I'd replied. Like a real adult. Now our parents joined us, perching awkwardly on my bar stools. Mom's eyes kept darting around, calculating the worth of everything she saw. So, I said, pouring them water. No wine. Tell me how this happened. Dad cleared his throat. The market turned. Investments went bad. And with helping Ciara. You mean enabling her? That's not fair, Ciara protested. No? I pulled out my tablet. Let's review. Failed modeling career. Failed fashion blog. Failed jewelry line. Failed crystal spa. Plus a foreclosed condo and maxed out credit cards. How much did they give you? Silence. Everything, Dad finally admitted. We gave her everything. And now you have nothing. I let that hang in the air. So what exactly do you want from me? Mom reached across the counter, trying to take my hand. I pulled back. We need a place to stay, she said. Just until we get back on our feet. We're still your parents. Are you? I met her eyes. Because I remember being your daughter, begging for help with college. Remember what you said? Get a job like a real adult. The color drained from her face. You can stay, I said, standing up, but there are conditions. I handed them each a copy of the house rules. Dad's hands shook as he read them. This is excessive, he managed. This is character building. I smiled, using his own words. You'll share the basement room with Kiara. Bathroom's down there. Chore schedule starts tomorrow. I expect the kitchen cleaned tonight. You can't be serious, Mom whispered. Oh, but I am. You taught me the value of hard work, remember? Now I'm teaching it back. I left them sitting there, stunned, and went upstairs to my office. Through the security camera, I watched them slowly begin clearing the dishes, whispering furiously to each other. My phone buzzed. Maximus, dinner tomorrow? Before I could reply, Zariah called. They're all there, she asked. Yes. And? I watched through the camera as Kiara tried loading the dishwasher, probably for the first time in her life. And now they learn what it feels like to be the ones asking for help. Reese, Zariah's voice softened. Don't lose yourself in this. I'm not losing myself, I said, watching my family fumble through basic chores. I'm finally finding myself. Another buzz from Maximus. I'm worried about you. I typed back. Don't be. Everything's going exactly as planned. Downstairs, I heard something crash, followed by cursing, music to my ears. This was just the beginning. My carefully orchestrated symphony of consequences was only starting its first movement, and I intended to conduct every note. It's 5 a.m., I announced, flipping on the basement lights. Time for morning chores. 3 groaning figures stirred on their mattresses. After a week, the basement had taken on the smell of defeated privilege, designer clothes piled in corners, expensive creams littering the bathroom counter. This is insane, Kiara mumbled into her pillow. Normal people don't wake up at 5. I did, every morning through college. I clapped my hands. Up. The bathrooms upstairs need cleaning before I leave for work. Mom sat up, her silk pajamas wrinkled. Reese, honey, can't we discuss this? We're not your servants. No, you're people who need my help. This is the cost. I'd calculated everything carefully. Wake-up calls at 5, strict cleaning schedules, budgeted meals, no credit cards, no shopping, no ordering in. Every indignity I'd endured, carefully recreated. Dad trudged upstairs with the cleaning supplies I'd left out. This isn't right, he muttered. We're your parents. Funny how that relationship only matters when you need something. The doorbell rang. Maximus stood there with coffee and concern in his eyes. Checking up on me? I asked, letting him in. Someone should. He followed me to the kitchen, where my family was eating the plain oatmeal I'd left out. This feels dark. This feels just, I corrected. Ciara looked up, mascara smeared despite the makeup ban I'd imposed. Who's this? None of your business. I turned to Maximus. We should go. I have a meeting. Reese, Mom called as we headed out. The Wi-Fi's not working again. It's turned off during work hours. You should be job hunting in person anyway. I smiled sweetly. Building character, remember? In my car, Maximus was quiet for a long moment. They broke you once, he finally said. Don't let them break you again by becoming what you hated. I'm not... My phone rang. Morgan, my parents' old financial advisor. We need to talk, he said, about your mother, about why they treated you that way. I know why. I was never the daughter they wanted. No, his voice was heavy. It's much worse than that. Can you meet me? I have meetings all day. Make time. You need to know the truth. I hung up, feeling Maximus's eyes on me. What? I snapped. You're shaking. I looked down at my hands, gripping the steering wheel too tight. He was right. Back home that evening, I found Ciara trying to order delivery on her phone. Your credit cards are declined, I said from the doorway. All of them. This is abuse, she shouted. You're enjoying this. Like you enjoyed watching them dismiss me? Like you enjoyed taking everything while I got nothing? You're insane, she spat. And vindictive and successful, I finished. Don't forget that part. Mom appeared in the hallway. I raised you better than this. You didn't raise me at all. You just made sure I knew my place. I pulled out my phone, showing them my banking app. See these numbers? This is what determination looks like. This is what happens when you push someone too far. We get it, Dad said quietly. We were wrong. Is that what you want to hear? What I want, I said, is for you to feel everything I felt. Every single day of uncertainty. Every moment of powerlessness. Every time I had to smile while you praised Kiara and ignored me. My phone buzzed again. Morgan. The truth can't wait. It's about your inheritance. What inheritance? I muttered. What? Kiara asked. Nothing. I straightened up. Dinner's in an hour. I expect the kitchen spotless before then. Upstairs, I found Zariah waiting in my office. Your assistant let me in. You look terrible. Thanks. This revenge thing, it's eating you alive. She gestured to my security monitors showing my family cleaning downstairs. Look at yourself. Looking at them. Controlling every moment. They deserve it. Maybe, but you deserve peace more. She handed me a file. Remember this? Our first business plan? When we were going to change the world? I touched the worn paper. We did change the world. No, we built an empire. But you stopped trying to change anything the moment they showed up. She headed for the door. Just think about what you really want here. My phone buzzed one more time. Morgan, your mother had a secret, one that explains everything. Meet me tomorrow. I watched my family through the cameras, moving through their new routine of penance. It should have felt satisfying. Instead, I felt hollow. What if there was more to this story than even I knew? Tomorrow, I'd find out. But tonight, I had a family to break. Or maybe I was breaking myself. Morgan was waiting in a quiet coffee shop, a thick manila envelope on the table in front of him. He looked older than I remembered, more tired. You should sit down for this, he said as I approached. Just tell me. He pulled out several documents. Your mother's mother was wealthy, very wealthy, old money, carefully managed over generations. I never met her. No, you wouldn't have. He spread out papers, legal documents, bank statements, letters. She had strict rules about her fortune. The inheritance could only pass through the female line, specifically to the firstborn daughter. My coffee cup froze halfway to my mouth. What? Your mother wasn't supposed to touch that money. It was meant for you, Reese. Only you. The moment you were born, you became the sole heir to millions. The room seemed to tilt. But Your mother made sure of that. She resented you from the moment she understood what your birth meant. That money, her family's money, would skip her entirely and go to you. He pushed a letter forward. She convinced your grandmother you were unstable, irresponsible, had the inheritance locked up in trusts until you turned 35. That's next year, I whispered. Yes. Why do you think they're suddenly desperate to get close to you? He met my eyes. They're not just broke, Reese. They're terrified. The inheritance is about to transfer, and they've burned every bridge. My hands shook as I read through the documents. Property deeds, investment accounts, family trusts, all waiting, all meant for me. The favoritism with Ciara, Morgan continued. It wasn't just normal family dysfunction. Your mother was punishing you, making sure you felt worthless, incapable of handling money. If she could prove you were financially irresponsible, she could contest the inheritance, I finished. That's why they laughed when I asked for college money, why they wanted me to fail. But you didn't fail. You built something they never expected. He smiled grimly. You proved yourself capable beyond their wildest fears. I stood up so quickly my chair scraped loudly against the floor. People turned to look. Reese, I need to go. I drove home in a daze, memories reshaping themselves in my mind. Every dismissal, every cruel laugh, every time they praised Kiara while tearing me down, it wasn't just favoritism. It was calculated destruction. They were in the kitchen when I walked in, dutifully following my posted cleaning schedule. Mom looked up, started to speak. When were you going to tell me about grandmother's inheritance? The mop clattered from her hands. Dad went pale. Kiara looked confused. What inheritance? She asked. The one that was always meant for me, the one Mom couldn't touch. I turned to her. The reason you hated me from the day I was born. I never hated. Lie to me again, I said quietly, and you'll all be out on the street tonight. Mom sank into a chair. How did you find out? Morgan, he finally grew a conscience. What are you talking about? Sierra demanded. Our loving mother here, I said, spent our entire lives trying to destroy my confidence, my future, my chances of success, all because grandmother's money could only go to the firstborn daughter. Kiara turned to Mom. Is that true? I deserved that money, Mom whispered. I was her daughter. And I was yours, I said. But that didn't matter, did it? Dad stepped forward. We were trying to protect you from what? Success? Independence? Self-worth? I pulled out my phone, pulled up my banking app. Look at these numbers, really look. I built this while you were trying to tear me down. Imagine what I could have done with support. Silence filled the kitchen. Heavy, suffocating silence. Get out, I finally said. Reese, please. Not them, I pointed to Kiara and Dad. Just you, Mom. Pack your bags. You have 30 minutes. You can't. I can. My house, my rules, remember? I smiled, cold and sharp. Don't worry, I'm sure you can find a nice shelter somewhere, build some character. She ran downstairs crying. No one followed. The rest of you can stay, I told Dad and Tiara, for now, but understand something. I know the truth now, all of it. And when that inheritance comes through next year, I leaned in close. I'll make sure she never sees a penny of it. I walked upstairs to my office, legs shaking, and called Maximus. I need you, I said simply. I'm on my way. Behind me, I heard the front door slam as Mom left. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like the beginning of something much darker, something that would change us all. We need to talk about payment, I announced, dropping a thick folder on the kitchen table. Dad and Ciara looked up from their morning oatmeal, dark circles under their eyes from another night on basement mattresses. Payment? Kiara asked. For what? Room, board, utilities, food. I opened the folder. I've calculated everything you've used since moving in, down to the last sheet of toilet paper. Dad picked up the paper, his face going pale. This is thousands. Exactly $27,463.82, I said. So far. We can't pay this, Kiara whispered. I know. I pulled out another document. That's why I've arranged jobs for you both. There's a cleaning service company I own. They need staff. You want us to be janitors? Shara's voice cracked. Consider it an entry-level position, with garnished wages to cover your debt. Dad stood up suddenly. Enough. We get it. You're punishing us. But this has gone too far. Has it? I stepped closer. When I begged for help with college, you said I needed to learn the value of hard work. So here's your chance to learn. The doorbell rang. Maximus stood there, looking troubled. Don't do this, he said quietly. You don't understand. I understand revenge. But this? He gestured to the papers. This isn't justice. This is cruelty. They were cruel first, and now you're becoming exactly like them. His words hit like a slap. Behind me, Sierra started crying. You're insane, she sobbed. We're your family. Family? I spun around. Family doesn't sabotage each other. Family doesn't spend decades trying to destroy someone's self-worth. Family doesn't... I didn't know, she screamed, about the inheritance, about Mom's plans. I didn't know any of it. I was just the weapon she used against you. The room went silent. Even Maximus seemed to hold his breath. "She's right," Dad said softly. "Ciara was as much a pawn as you were, just in a different way." I looked at my sister, really looked at her. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by worn sweats. Her perfectly maintained nails were chipped. She looked broken. "I have to go," I muttered, grabbing my keys. "Reese," Maximus called after me. "Don't run from this." But I was already in my car, driving too fast toward downtown. My phone buzzed repeatedly. Maximus, Zariah, even Morgan. I ignored them all. I found myself parked outside a homeless shelter. Through the window, I could see Mom in line for dinner, still wearing her designer clothes, looking completely lost. My phone rang again. This time I answered. "What do you want, Zariah?" "Your company stock is dropping," she said. "The board is nervous about your behavior. Maximus called me. He's worried you're spiraling." "I'm fine." "No, you're not. You're turning into everything you hated, and you're risking everything we built to do it." I watched Mom accept a bowl of soup with shaking hands. "They deserve this," I said, but my voice wavered. "Maybe, but you deserve peace more than you deserve revenge." I hung up and drove to my office. The cleaning crew was there, my newly hired employees. I watched through the glass as Dad scrubbed windows and Tiara mopped floors. Maximus found me there, staring. "Your mother called me," he said. "What?" "From the shelter. She's ready to tell you everything. The whole truth, not just what Morgan knew." He touched my arm. "But first, you need to decide something." "What?" "Whether you want to win or whether you want to heal." I looked at my family through the glass, Dad's stooped shoulders, Ciara's red eyes. Thought about Mom in that shelter line. Thought about myself, watching their every move through cameras, controlling their every moment. "I've become her," I whispered. "Haven't I? I've become my mother." Maximus didn't answer. He didn't have to. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Mom. "I'm sorry, not for what you think, but for something much worse, something you still don't know. Please let me explain." I showed Maximus the text. "What do you think she means?" "Only one way to find out." He held out his hand. "But whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone." I stared at his offered hand for a long moment. Through the glass, I heard Ciara drop her mop and start crying again. "Okay," I said finally, taking his hand. "Let's hear the rest of the truth." But something told me I wouldn't like what I was about to learn. Some truths cut deeper than revenge ever could. Mom sat across from me in my office, still wearing the shelter's donated clothes. Maximus stood by the door, a silent guardian. "Tell me," I said. She pulled out an old photograph. A woman I'd never met, my grandmother, holding a baby. "This isn't you," Mom said. "It's your sister. Your real sister." The world tilted. "What?" "I had a daughter before you. She died when she was 3 months old." Mom's hands shook. "The inheritance, it was supposed to be hers. When I got pregnant again, I prayed for a boy, someone who couldn't claim that money. But then you came." "So you punished me for existing?" "I punished you for replacing her." The words exploded out of her. "Every time I looked at you, I saw the daughter I lost. The money that should have been hers, should have been mine. That's why you had Ciara," I realized, "to create the perfect daughter, the one you actually wanted." She nodded, tears falling. "I thought if I could make you small enough, weak enough, you'd give up the inheritance willingly. Give it to Ciara, but you just kept succeeding, kept growing stronger. Despite everything you did, despite everything I did." I stood up, walked to the window. Below, I could see Dad and Ciara still cleaning, still paying their debts, both literal and karmic. "Do they know?" "Your father does. Ciara doesn't." I pressed my forehead against the cool glass. All these years, I thought I was unwanted, but I was actually hated for something I never even knew about. I don't hate you, Mom whispered. I hate myself for what I became, what I did to you. I turned back to her. And now? Now that I'm successful without your money? Now that I've proven everything you believed about me wrong? Now I'm terrified, she admitted, not of losing the inheritance, of losing my last chance to know my daughter, my living daughter. Maximus stepped forward. Reese. No, I cut him off. I need to handle this. I picked up my phone, dialed Ciara's number. Come upstairs. Bring Dad. They arrived, still wearing their cleaning uniforms, looking nervous. Sit down, I said. Mom has something to tell you. As the truth spilled out, Ciara's face went through a kaleidoscope of emotions. Shock, horror, understanding. Dad just looked tired. So I was what? Ciara asked. A replacement? A weapon? You were both victims, I said quietly. Just like I was. I walked to my desk, pulled out the folder of their debts, ripped it in half. The cleaning jobs are still yours if you want them, I said, but as employees, not servants, and you can find your own places to live. Reese, Mom started. I'm not finished. I met her eyes. The inheritance? When it comes through, I'm splitting it. Equal shares, all of us, including my dead sister's portion, that goes to charity. You can't. I can, and I will. I straightened up. But first, you're all getting therapy, separately and together. We're going to fix what's broken here, or we're going to walk away for good. Silence filled the room. Then Ciara stood up. I'll do it, she said. The therapy, the job, all of it. I want to understand to be better. Dad nodded. Me too. All eyes turned to Mom. She looked small, broken, but something like hope flickered in her eyes. Yes, she whispered. Whatever it takes. Good, I pressed the intercom. Zariah, cancel my meetings for the day. She appeared in the doorway. Already done. Maximus filled me in. I looked at my family, really looked at them, not through cameras or revenge-tinted glasses, but as they were, damaged people who damaged each other. We start therapy tomorrow, I said. For now, go home. All of you. Even you, Mom. I'll pay for a hotel. As they filed out, Maximus touched my arm. You're doing the right thing. Am I? Or am I just tired of being angry? Maybe they're the same thing. Later that night, I stood in my empty house. No cameras watching, no revenge to orchestrate. Just quiet. My phone buzzed, a text from Ciara. I'm sorry for everything, even the things I didn't know I was part of. Then from Dad, you're stronger than all of us. Finally from Mom, thank you for being better than me. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I called Maximus. Come over, I said. I need to remember who I was before all this. Who you still are, he corrected. Just wiser now. I looked at my reflection in the window. Successful, powerful, and finally maybe free. Not from them, but from what they'd made me believe about myself. And that was the best revenge of all.